If you're a coach who's ready to start selling more passive, scaled, one-to-many products, courses, memberships, maybe you have a lot of questions when it comes to the tech side of how we create, host and deliver all of that stuff. Well, if so, this is the episode of the show for you. I'm going to explore all the different things that you need to understand about the tech when it comes to those kind of offers. Let's dive in. Hi there, welcome to the Wholehearted Business Show. I'm Laura. I help health and life coaches get more clients, grow their businesses and live the best lives while they do it. And today on the show, we're talking all things tech when it comes to creating, selling, offering passive income, scaled, one-to-many type products. So this is a really, really interesting topic. I love tech. I'm a total tech geek and I know that not everyone else is. So I know that some of this stuff can be a bit overwhelming, a bit scary. You might not know where on earth to even begin with all of this. So in today's show, I want to take you through what you need to understand about the tech needs for offering these kind of different offerings in your business, basically, and some suggestions of what different tech things you might want to use, and just to give you a bit of an overview so that you've got a better understanding of what all this stuff might look like in your business. So like I say, I am a self-confessed tech geek. I really find all this stuff really, really interesting, and it can make such a big difference to your business when you get this stuff set up and when you get it right. And again, I've had lots of experience in creating and selling these kind of offers. So I've tried lots of different tech out, and I also kind of know what works for my clients as well as me. So I'm going to try and give you like a really good overview, whether it comes to the actual payment processing, the hosting of the materials that you're selling, all that kind of stuff. We're going to explore that today. So before we jump into the actual tech, I just want to get really clear on what those scaled kind of passive offers look like. And when I say passive, I mean that very, very generally, because no offers are really passive. We all have to do something in order to sell them. But what I'm really thinking about here is offers that when you sell them, there's an element of automation that needs to be in place in order to deliver that to someone and for the whole process to make sense. When we're working with people one-to-one, their one-to-one onboarding tends to be fairly manual unless you're using a CRM that is automating some of the process. But generally speaking, you're overseeing getting that one client to pay, to sign a contract, to book the first call, and you're kind of all doing that with them. With a digital offering, with a course or a membership, it's going to be really, really difficult if you do that for every single person, because ideally you want to be selling to many people, not just a couple. So we want to have some element that makes things automated and makes it easy for people to pay, to show up, to get the product, all that kind of stuff. Now, this is coming from someone who, when I created my very, very first digital product, way back when I was a health coach, probably like 11 years ago now, I had to individually email people the PDF that I created when they bought on PayPal, because I couldn't, I don't even think the automation stuff existed then, from what I remember. Or I think there might have been like Zapier, but it was really expensive or something like that. So I just did it manually. And in all honesty, if that is what you need to get started, that's fine. As long as you let people know that there's going to be a delay between them paying and them actually getting the thing that they bought, that's fine. But again, these days we have lots of options. There's no real need to do it that way. And we can do it even in a really simple and cheap way too. So there's lots of different approaches that I'm going to explore today. So the first place to start is to really understand the different steps of the process between someone finding the product to actually getting it and being able to use it, and what those steps need to look like. So I'm going to put something on the screen right now. If you are listening on the podcast, check out the blog post if you want to see the little kind of flow chart diagram that I've created. This is how I like to do it for myself and clients. But basically we are step by stepping it out. I like it in a visual form so I can see what it looks like. If you want to get really, really fancy, you can add in like the sales kind of funnel element at the start of this process if you want. Again, I've done this with clients when I've been helping them map out their sales funnels, and it just helps you understand what do you need at each particular point for your particular product. And again, depending on the thing that it is that you're selling, it's going to have different needs in terms of delivery, hosting, etc. Usually for anything that you're selling, there's some key things that you're going to need in place. The first thing is a sales page, which basically tells people about the thing that they're going to buy. That can be a sales page on your website, or it can be a landing page. I'm going to explore this in a minute, but you need a sales page. You will also need some way of taking payment from someone, a payment processor. Then you're going to need some way for that payment to trigger someone having the access to the actual thing that you've created, which also kind of comes into having the thing that you've created hosted somewhere, like actually lives somewhere on the internet so people can actually get hold of it. And then ideally you want some way of being able to communicate with those people once they've purchased the product too. So those are the key steps that for almost any kind of like one-to-many product you are going to want to have in place to make sure that people can access the product and that it actually all works in a way that makes sense. So I'm going to take you through each of those steps and just share some things that you might want to consider when it comes to tech, and also some potential tech tools that you might want to use. So when it comes to the sales page side of things, again, the most common place that I would have a sales page is your website. If you have a website, it should be really nice and straightforward. This is why I'm a big believer in building websites that are usable, because if you're going to have more than one product, it can really make sense to have a template that you can use, or that you're familiar with your website, so that you can go in there and create these sales pages. But a website is a great place to have your sales page. You can also use things like landing pages on email service providers, like for example, I know ConvertKit and MailerLite allow you to build out landing pages, so that's an option. You can even, if you want to just go completely different, you can also do pages on Notion, pages on Canva, pages in a Google Doc. As long as you can publicly share it with people, then it can count in the same kind of place as a sales page. It's basically about how are you telling people about this product and how it's going to help them. That's the main thing that you want with the sales page, and obviously how to actually go ahead and buy it. The next thing you need is a way for people to pay, and this is where things start to get a little bit more interesting. So we have the standard kind of options of PayPal and Stripe, where you can create a link, you can create a URL that will charge people. They can put their credit card details in and it will charge people for the product that you're creating. So you can do that just in PayPal and just in Stripe. It's not necessarily what I would recommend, certainly for things where there needs to be some automation going on, but it's an option. So you can absolutely use those things. However, where things get much, much better, I think, in terms of how we serve people and people's experience of buying from us, is if we use an extra bit of tech that kind of connects with one of those payment processes and actually operates a bit like a cart system. So in my business, I use ThriveCart. It is wonderful. I've had no issues with it. Some people have had issues with it. However, for me, it is fantastic. I'll talk a bit more about ThriveCart as we go through, but I use ThriveCart, and that basically, you set up your cart, you have all the information in there. The carts look really attractive. They're designed to convert people to actually buy, and everything is just handled, and that connects with Stripe, and that takes all the payments, and that is wonderful, makes total sense. You also have things like PayHip, which is another option. Sendowl, again, these are really, I would say PayHip and Sendowl are really, really great for small digital products. And what you might find as well is that if you chose to go with some kind of course hosting platform like Teachable or Kajabi, they have their own options built in terms of cart, payment processing setups. So this is, again, like I say, where things get a little bit interesting. Depending on what options you go for tech-wise, you will get more of these steps included in one thing. So for example, Kajabi, you can do your sales page, landing pages, the payments, the hosting, the courses, products, etc. It kind of all does it all in one. But again, you can stitch things together. It's really up to you. And again, this is where things get quite interesting, and we need to figure out what is affordable and what makes sense for our businesses. But we need some way of taking that payment. We then need some way of that payment triggering an automatic delivery of the thing that they've purchased. Again, this isn't essential, but I would say that you really don't want to miss this, because having to do things manually gets really, really tiring after a certain point. But you want to have the tech set up so that when someone pays, it triggers them to get access to the product that they've just purchased. Again, if you are using a all-in-one course kind of platform, that will do it automatically for you. But you can also kind of use things like Zapier, which makes tech talk to each other. And again, this tech talking to each other is quite important when it comes to things happening on a more automated basis. Now, I do realise some of this might just sound like gobbledygook to some of you, and that's okay. Like, it is a lot to get your head around, and I'm going to try and make it as simple as I can. But there is elements of this to let you know the options that are going to sound a bit complex. So that's when it comes to, again, how we get those different things to talk to each other. Another thing that you're going to need tech for is to actually host the materials that you are giving people. So if this is something like a membership or a small digital product or a course, you're going to have maybe PDFs, maybe written information, maybe audios and videos, and that needs to live somewhere where people can access it. Now, again, here you've got a few different options. You have got them, like if it's just a simple PDF, you could just have that emailed to them and then they've got that. If it's a course, you might want somewhere where they can log in and then watch videos. or you might want to just give them the link to access some videos, like maybe in a Google Drive. You've got some different options. So it maybe could be, again, that you just email them something. It could be that you have a password protected page on your website where you host the videos. It could be that you have an actual course platform like Teachable, Kajabi. I use Thrive Learn, which is part of Thrive Cart in my business, to do that. What you'll also find is that with some of these options, you also need to have another way of actually hosting things to put them on the course platform. So for example, in my business with Thrive Learn, I host my videos in something called Loom, that then is embedded on the Thrive Learn platform. Again, I know this sounds complicated, but these are some of the options that you have when it comes to actually like having the materials that you are going to give people live somewhere. That's basically what we're talking about. So just to recap, we've got the sales page, which basically tells people about the thing that they're going to buy. We have the payment processing, which basically allows people to pay you. And again, how that's set up is going to vary. We need to have some way for the payments being taken to trigger people having access to the thing, and then the thing needs to live somewhere. The materials need to live somewhere. And then at the end of that process, you also ideally want a way to be able to communicate with the people who have purchased by having them put onto your email list. And these are the different steps you want to look at. So again, with that automation with the email list, sometimes that will happen. You can get your course platform to talk to your email service provider. So for example, you can get Teachable to talk to ConvertKit, or you can get Thrive Learn to talk to ConvertKit, or MailerLite, for example. You want these things to all talk to each other so that the process is really seamless. Certainly for your customers, it might be a little bit more complicated for you in the background, but we want it to make sense. Now, when it comes to these pieces of tech, there is obviously an expense involved, and this is where you need to start making decisions about what you want to invest in and what makes sense to invest in any one time in your business. If you don't want to make any big investments, like Kajabi is a really big investment. It's a high monthly investment, but it does everything. Teachable is quite similar. It's a high monthly investment, but it does lots of different things. Thrive Cart and Thrive Learn, which is what I use, is a one-time fee. It's not a cheap fee, but it's a one-time fee, but then you've got it. At the moment, at the time of recording, that's the way it's set up, but I think it might move to a monthly fee at some point in the future. So those are some of the options that you've got on like the more kind of the bigger tech systems front. But then also you've got like the much more kind of low expense way of doing it, which is just simply having some kind of like little kind of hacks in place that make everything work. So for example, you can use Zapier to help different bits of tech talk to one another. PayHip is a really, really great one if you are selling small digital products, because again, what you can do with PayHip is it will talk to your email service provider, and then your email can just deliver the file to people. That's a really great way to do it. Or I can deliver a URL to people where things are hosted on your website, for example. So like I say, I know that this probably doesn't sound simple, especially if you're brand new to tech. But what you want to remember is, what do you have in place for each of those steps? And how does each of those steps connect? So for example, the sales page will have a button that has a URL that takes them to a page where they can pay. Once they've paid, what happens? How does that payment trigger them to get access? And what does that access look like? Is it an email that they get with a link to log in somewhere? Is it an email that they get with the actual thing that they've bought in it? Like, what does that need to look like? And then do you need to have something hosted somewhere? Do you need a Google Drive that has a publicly available link that you can share with them? Do you need an actual course platform? Do you need just a page on your website? And then how are you getting people, like once they've paid, how are you getting them onto your email list so that you can then, again, hopefully sell them more things, but also nurture them, make sure that if they've got any questions, or maybe give them more information about the thing that they've purchased. So those are the essential steps. So I just wanted to end with talking about some of my favourite tech tools and the tech things that I use in my business that I really love. So the first thing that I use that I've mentioned a few times is Thrive Cart and Thrive Learn. So this is, like I say, at the time of recording, it is a one-time fee that you pay, and then you get access to the cart system and also the course platform as well. It's not the easiest thing to set up, and I would say that if you're going to go for this option, you're probably going to need some support from somewhere if you are very, very new to tech to get it up and running and set up the way that it needs to be set up to make sense. But it's a great option. I love it because it's not an ongoing expense. Like Teachable was putting their prices up, and it just wasn't viable for me to stay with Teachable any longer. So I really, really love Thrivecart. It also has like full, all the affiliate stuff set up so that I can have affiliates at any point that I want. It is basically, for me, like, it does everything that I need it to do, and I have not had any problems with it. So I really love Thrivecart. If that's something you want to explore, I'll have a affiliate link if you want to purchase it. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have on using the program if you buy through my link. So disclosure. But like I say, they might be changing to a monthly fee model soon. That's something to bear in mind as well. But I absolutely love Thrivecart and ThriveLearn. On the email front, I use ConvertKit. I absolutely love ConvertKit, especially when you are getting into the realms of having multiple offers. ConvertKit tends to make sense. It is a paid option. I think they do have like a free option, but generally speaking, to get it to do anything automated, you need to use a paid option. But for me, it is like, it's a must-have. Like, I couldn't do without ConvertKit. The other option that most of my clients use is MailerLite, which is perfectly good. Still, like, for me, not quite as good as ConvertKit, but usually that's because I'm really familiar with ConvertKit. But certainly when it comes to having multiple offers, ConvertKit is fantastic and it makes a lot of sense. And again, it talks to a lot of these other bits of tech that you might have. So for example, in my business, ConvertKit talks to Thrivecart, which also talks to Stripe. And just to add an extra layer of complication, which you probably don't need to worry about, but for me, I charge in multiple currencies. I charge in US dollars and in British pounds. Occasionally I might charge in euros as well. And I also have my Stripe account connected to a Wise account that has multiple different currencies. So again, this is where things can get really interesting and exciting depending on how you view all of this. It might just be massively overwhelming, but yeah, that's what I'm here for, is to help you guys with this kind of thing. Again, I also really love Payhip and Sendowl. I used Sendowl for a lot of years before I moved into Teachable, and again, you can set up lots of different things with these two different tech tools in terms of selling. I think I sold my membership using Sendowl for a while. So again, depending on where you're hosting things, like Payhip and Sendowl can actually be fantastic options, and they're much, much lower cost than going for something like Teachable or Kajabi. They do a really, really great job. So Payhip and Sendowl are fantastic options as well. I also really love Stripe. I've been mentioning there. Stripe's fantastic. It's a lower fee than PayPal. I find Stripe now that you can easily create payment buttons. Really, really fun to use. It integrates with Thrivecart and ThriveLearn. So I'm just a massive fan of Stripe, but obviously you've also got PayPal as an option too. And then finally, another tool that I really love to use in amongst all of this is Loom. So I do all of my video recordings on Loom, and I upload videos to be hosted in Loom and then embed them as part of my courses and programs. So I really love Loom. I think I'm on the $10 a month. It might be more than that now for new people, but I think it's like $10 a month, and I can host loads of videos on there. I can record screen share videos where I'm teaching and I'm doing trainings. I just love Loom. It's a really fantastic tool that I use all of the time when it comes to this kind of, one-to-many scalable digital offers. And also all of the Google tools, like the Google Drive stuff, the Google Docs. I create a lot of different resources in Google Docs and share them as part of my courses and programs. So that's another tool that I really, really love. So like I say, hopefully that has given you a bit of an overview of the tech that you need to understand when it comes to creating and selling some kind of digital passive offer, whether that's a course, a small digital product, a membership, even a group program. Hopefully that helps you start to think about how this stuff is all kind of set out. And like I say, the first thing to think about is just what are the steps that people need to take, what needs to happen in order for someone to look at the product, buy the product, get access to the product, and then you'll be able to keep in touch with them. Those are the steps that you need to figure out what tech needs to do what in that kind of process. If you are listening to this and it's still massively overwhelming, you've got a couple of options. So first things first, check out my super simple passive income course. It is really, really affordably priced at the moment. I am going to increase the price on it actually because it is such a good course, but it's there. That will tell you about how to use Payhip. I think it's one of the things that we use in that, but it's all centered about creating a small digital offer. So do check that out. Second thing, check out my clarity calls. If you just need to sit down with someone and brainstorm out what this looks like and then go away and work it out yourself, sign up for one of my clarity calls. They are highly discounted if you are a first-time customer. Go and check out the link in the description and you will see that they are heavily, heavily discounted. So grab a call with me, come and have an hour with me, and we can talk it through and brainstorm that out if that's helpful. And then finally, I am opening some slots up over the summer for me to do some specific done for you programs and offerings. So for example, if you are looking at needing a new website, if you want me to set up and help kind of consult with you and strategize around creating a funnel, if you want my help and support on actually creating a digital product and setting up all of this stuff, then come and have a chat with me. Just book in for a free call. I'll put the link in the description. I've got a very small number of slots over the summer. This felt like a fun project to do. Like I said, I am a self-confessed tech geek. I do really love all of this stuff. I do know the strategy inside out and back to front. And I'm also really, really good at just helping, take what's in your brain and make it work in the real world so you can actually get on with the business of selling and generating income from what it is that you want to share. So if that sounds good to you, get in touch, because I have a very limited number of those slots. It might be more affordable than you think it would be because I work very, very fast. And like I say, I'm good at this stuff. But it's not just about me doing it for you. You also get that consultant kind of role from me as well, where I will give you that strategic input, not just kind of do it for you. So that could be really, really helpful. So let me know if you want to chat about that. Very, very, very small number of slots available for those things, because obviously it's quite time intensive, but give me a shout if you would like to chat that through. So yeah, I really hope that has been helpful. Like I say, I know this stuff can be overwhelming, but it is figure outable. Hopefully that has given you a really good starting point to check out some different tech tools and to think about the different steps. I hope that has been useful. Give me a like and subscribe, and I will see you next week, guys. Take care. Bye.